Welcome to Inside the Firm, a podcast dedicated to small business owners and hosted by entrepreneurs, Alex Gore and Lance Cayko. Each week, they take you on their journey of how to start, run, and grow a business by bringing you inside their architecture and real estate development firm. Get a behind-the-scenes tour of how these business leaders manage their clients and foster company culture while creating new and innovative projects. And now your hosts, Alex Gore and Lance Cayko.
Lance, how's it going?
It is a beautiful, beautiful August day, Al. We're gonna do some fun stuff this afternoon. Life is good. We're weeks away from a building permit. We're weeks away from breaking ground on a 18-month, and then I would even say a bigger than that, like a lifetime goal.
Yes.
Of becoming architect as developer contractor.
Yes. So congratulations to you. You just opened a piece of mail that says you're a Class B contractor,
Woo-hoo!
which means you're like slightly less than a Class A.
Slightly less. Can't really do a skyscraper.
but anyway,
kind of restricted.
That's perfect. It comes in. That's amazing. Congratulations. You're an architect, now a contractor.
Yep.
Class B contractor. I think I said developer.
Yep. Class B contractor, exactly. And we are soon to be developers. I know we keep saying that we are. But in my world, I think where it's at is financing. Once the financing is in order, then it's like, okay, you guys have proved yourselves that you are, like that's sort of like, I would say, the license to build, right? I mean, the license to develop. You need the money.
Sometimes I stop telling my wife like these little milestones, because last night she actually had a good conversation piece and I didn't want to interrupt because it was late, and then I went to sleep afterwards, but like, oh, I signed the Mylars, like that's there's so many of these little steps. So I think we already opened a business. It's our developer business, F12. We already put thousands and thousands of dollars in there, spent thousands and thousands of dollars on land. So like in my mind, we're already a developer.
Yeah.
But I get what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying?
There's a million little steps.
Exactly. There's a million little steps, and I do the same thing. I do the same thing with my wife and my kids, because what'll happen is, like, we'll be at the office, and you and I talk about this stuff all day long with all the guys, so then, like, sometimes I get all of that stuff out already.
Yeah.
So, in a way, I'm not bringing work home, and that's good.
Right.
But then I get in trouble.
Same thing. I'm literally the same boat. Yeah.
Why didn't you tell me about that? Because my wife wants to know, and I'm like... So she's gotten used to me saying, like, I basically preface everything with, hey, if I already told you this, I'm sorry. If I haven't already told you this, I'm sorry. I talk to a lot of people. And now I kind of even don't have to. I should.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even
if
know.
If I have IF, just say like
some, yeah. Trigger warning, IF, blah, 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 blah. Something like that.
Yeah. That's true, too. I do have that with my wife, because sometimes she's like, why didn't you tell me that? Oh, my God. I don't know. I don't know why I didn't. But so that leads into congratulations on that. We'll talk about the development, but now I want to talk about hiring. Have you heard about hire slow, fire fast?
Yes.
Right? A lot of times we do not have the luxury to hire slow.
Yeah.
So almost most of our employees there's two ways we hire. One is interview, 5 people, pick one. Hey, can you come in tomorrow?
Yep.
The other way is it's students, and we go, okay, we'll see if we have work, blah, 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 and then they're hired, and then, okay, can you come in and work tomorrow, right? So now that literally you have a contractor's license, basically permits are done, we're just wrapping up formalities, basically. Financing could come in. At any moment, you could be on the job site totally dedicated. Who knows? Josh could be totally dedicated.
Josh will be, yeah, exactly. We're going to be. It's going to be. Yep.
And then all of a sudden it's holy cow. I could get 2 more projects. We have too much work.
Yep. Once again.
How do you hire slow when that happens? How do you find the right person?
Yeah. And how do you hire slow? How do you hire slow? Find the right person when we have a labor shortage of people that we would consider qualified, and there's a labor shortage in general too. I mean, we have architects that are buddies, other business owners, and they're routinely asking us for people to recommend, and we're like, maybe you should recommend us.
Yeah,
we got nothing.
So I'm testing out a new hiring practice right now as we speak. The first is interview. Had that yesterday. You weren't able to be here, but that's why you have two heads
Yep.
of this piece. So regular interview, everyone understands what's going on. I got a resume from someone. His candidate's a little bit unique. He's coming from the engineering side, but he wants to design, which is totally fine. And we actually want to engineer. Interview went well, and then I stole something from Dave Ramsey. Do you know Dave Ramsey?
Dave Ramsey, yep.
I'm talking about.
Yeah, the financial dude.
Save
your money.
Radio,
yep.
podcast,
pay off your debt,
baby steps,
Yep.
all that. So he says the same thing: hire slow. And so they'll do like an interview, and then they'll have them a phone interview. Then they'll have them come out and then meet part of the staff, and then they'll do like a work day. So we don't have that amount of time. Anyways, interview went well. So I said, "Hey, what are you doing tomorrow?" He said, "Nothing." I said, "Come in. Oh, we can't pay you. This will be part of the interview process. In the morning, learn Revit. We'll set you up with a computer. Blah blah blah." He doesn't know it again, coming from the engineer side. Then we'll go. We typically on Friday we have lunches. So even if you get to meet the guys, get to meet the staff. And then today we just happened that we're going to go shoot guns with all of our guys. Mm-hmm. So we're kind of having a summer barbecue Christmas party. And I'm stealing it from Dave is, okay, not only will we be able to see,
this is smart.
Pick up.
I think this is all by accident. I think Al is proving that we do a lot of stuff by accident and then we make it into a thing. It's beautiful. I'm not saying it's wrong. It's like, wow, you just kind of hook, line, and sinkered me even just listening to you
well
about this process.
I've known about this, but there hasn't been the opportunity.
Well, I love the social
it.
aspect of it because right before we got into this podcast, I go to Al. I go like, man, I really think this guy could fit in, personality wise.
But we'll be able to see.
They're already joking and laughing. Yeah, exactly. And that's my first. But like, I think having that kind of test is so important, especially if you value firm culture like Alex and I do. And I mean, we really value it. Like it is. And the way we came about it was just getting a good feel for people, and then doing things like F9 Friday, and asking certain questions in interviews and stuff like that. But there wasn't like, I would caution anybody if they think I'm going to sit down and write, here's what I want my firm culture to be. I don't think that's the way to do it. I think you're already probably doing it in like your regular routines, right? That you have as a person. You already have hobbies, and your employees already have their hobbies, right? So like they mesh together. Do you guys enjoy kind of the same general stuff, right?
Yep. And I don't think you contradict. One thing that I am writing and they know about, but we don't formally do it, is the principles, right? The F9 principles, right? And it's stuff: respond quickly, communicate, over communicate, be on time, that stuff. That's not culture. That's just process and like a standard that we're going to. So I just wanted to differentiate that with the audience members. One of our videos that we did that's on our website, we did outtakes, and at the end we're like, we're fun, we're hot. Like you can't just write that down and then give it to a new boy. Look, we're fun. We have fun.
Yeah, exactly.
You
got to experience it. Yep. It just. Yeah, like I said, it's something that happens. I think one easy one is. This is funny to me. Is like when I ask people who are, I think not the most interesting people, and I can just tell right away. As I'm like, so what do you like to do? Well, I like music and I like food. Everybody likes music and like food. But what I'm getting at is like, well, that's maybe one thing where if instead of writing it down, you could try to do something like we do, like every Friday, every third Friday, once a month, you have a lunch with your crew, because everybody likes to eat, and then maybe because of that, and the conversation you have outside of the firm, then you start to get hints of like what else could we do as a group that would be fun.
And that's why I like, and I've held the line only, and there's only been some small resistance about when we do our parties. We do F9 parties. We don't do family parties. And we can do a family party. I'm okay with that. But I still want to hold F9 parties because, again, when you're talking about what do you like, what does your culture do, and then scheduling time to do it, once you introduce the families and then their wishes and demands, because it's going to morph then. Okay, make sure there's babysitters, make sure the music isn't gangster rap, all that stuff. Then you're saying, oh, our culture involves people that aren't here 24/7.
Yeah.
They're not here. It doesn't, Do you get what I'm saying?
I totally get what you're saying.
Yeah.
That said, I want to try to do you get to bring your spouse and we do like a weekend retreat at some point in the future. It would be fun. Like, now we're all going up to some awesome place up in the mountains.
Yep.
And we buy everybody rooms, and we have a blast doing that sort of thing.
Yeah.
With the family. Like I think there's a possibility there, but Alex makes a really good point. Like, know that the core of it involves your core people. It's an obvious thing, but
yeah, and that might be a separate thing because in my head that'd be okay to do, fine to do, but I'm like, it's such a distraction because you're like,
you're trying to force the issue. I think
you're trying to force the issue, and then everyone like when you do that, okay, you're bringing your wife. Maybe you're not bringing your kids, but who knows if this is 5 years down the line? Then everyone else has kids, and it's great. And then maybe some people can't come because they have kids. It's just,
and you know what we've done a couple like that already. So and they've been like comedy clubs. So yeah, so we've done a few of those and they've worked out okay. And then we've invited other architects and designers that we work with and team up with.
You know
sometimes.
what?
Those are pretty good.
I like that idea. Football games, we do that too.
Football games, we'll do that. Yeah, then that's a good one. Like, by the way, speaking of which, where are we going to go next weekend?
Yeah. So you know what? Instead of spending tens of thousands of dollars on a muddled,
like a retreat, right?
On a retreat, I like that idea where we integrate these in, especially the comedy things. Bring your wife, bring your family, bring your kid. Well, don't.
Well, because I think everybody
these little ones. And then they're more often too.
And what you need is you probably need is like an activity that everybody's focused on, right? Instead of like a non-activity. Like imagine everybody just going up. Yeah, we're just going to go up to this resort and hang out. Well, there's no is there an activity that you guys are going to that you're focused on, right? So that everybody has the same expectations going into it, like a comedy club or a football game or whatever. Yep. Even just a picnic, I could see that. That'd be okay. Like you're still focusing on something.
Oh, exactly.
There's one thing
like
what?
Oh, I don't think you were here. We all played volleyball one time with the guys. But something like that, wives and kids could come, everyone running around. That's perfect.
What the heck was I? Doing something cool?
I don't know.
Doing something cool, probably.
I think you're
doing something cool.
That's when we were going to shoot guns.
Yeah,
and you couldn't make it because everyone's scheduled. We had to move it because another guy had a wedding. Another guy has a wedding tonight, but he can still. So it's hard to do these with everyone involved. So I'm glad we can do this time. But then I changed it because I was just going to say we're shooting guns. I'm like, I can't shoot guns without Lance. I can't shoot guns without my buddy Lance.
Pretty pumped. It's going to be fun. It's going to be super fun. Yeah. Total America today. That's what it's going to be in the afternoon.
Yep.
And then you know what I'm doing after that? After this? So then I got to get home. And then it's one of our son's birthdays, and we're going to go do mini go-karts. Just complete America today, 100%. Top to bottom.
I'm saluting
Thank
you.
you.
Right now.
Thank me for my service.
Yeah, I'm saluting you. Okay, you do this transition.
So, City Council. I just want to give City Council on development, and I know we keep talking about this, but it's like a large portion of what we're going through right now as developers for the first time. But I think it's also a really good narrative for anybody else who will also go into going back and forth. And we want to showcase, here's how you be a leader, and here's how I'm hoping, a year from now, we're done with the development, and some of these developers come back to us because we've proven to them that, these guys are principled, they're consistent leaders, they know what they're doing, and they're obviously professional. So I can, wow, I just trust these guys. I'm going to give these guys a shot, and I'm going to hire them to do their next development. I'm hoping that's where it comes back to, just so everybody knows. So Alex went up and spoke again.
Brilliantly, eloquently.
It was great. Yeah, he looked good because he's been working out, doing his push-ups. He looked great. You can see his pectorals. Yeah. So he went up and spoke, and then prior to that, we talked about on the last episode that we sent out an email to all 52 developers, and then we sent it to the City Council, and we got 2 responses from City Council, which was great because now we've got them on record, and then we can show proof of concept to all of our the development community that see, they are listening to us, but obviously we need to be a consolidated voice. Because even one thing that I put in the email over to City Council was, by the way, there's 52 developers that are copied on this, and it just shows. Okay, okay. This is the voice of the development community. And then a couple of them, came back to us and had some modifications and stuff. But then it also activated people to go out and speak and stand up as well. So we got one back from a City Council member, and she basically said she was initially wanted to apply this zoning ordinance retroactively and said, but after all of the meetings, I don't think it should be, and I will be voting no. And so, and then we got another one, just kind of generally asking where we're at in the process. So then, after Alex spoke, we got all that stuff back, and we had some evidence. By the way, my whole night, and Alex is too on Tuesday from like 7 p.m. to midnight, is watching these meetings. They're long, but I
called you at 11:30.
I know,
back, and the meeting was still going on.
My whole family was sleeping, so like I'd be quiet and all this other stuff. But my wife gets it. She sympathizes. She totally empathizes and sympathizes with me, and like it's actually kind of helped our like relationship get a little stronger because like she just she can relate to all the my sentiments about stuff like this so much better because she's just like, okay.
She showed up to one or two of the meetings.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's good for her to have a pulse on it too because she wants to eventually do what we're doing too as far as development. She won't be out there swinging a hammer, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
She will be selling. So then we sent out another email. And what I basically said was, I'm writing to follow up to the email we sent to City Council on Monday. We received 2 responses from the members of City Council leading up to last night's study section. This at least means they are aware of us and how many are opposed to a retroactive application. Then I sent them the screenshots. And then for everybody who didn't watch, then I said, you can, in YouTube, I don't know if you know this, but like you can point it to right when like Alex started speaking. It was like 37 minutes into it. So they could just click on that link. They could see evidence that Alex was there doing that. Then I backed it up and said, I will be speaking next time.
I'll put that in the show notes since you already found it.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, and you were copied on the email. So then why it was important for us to not take our eye off the ball, and that was literally last episode. That was the title of it, was there was an important date that came out. And so they motioned and said, okay, here's when this is going to be enacted. But so while that gave us pause, and Alex was excited about it, about like, okay, he texted me during the meeting. He's like, this isn't going to apply to us. The project isn't dead. Huge victory. But I was upset because they still want to apply this sort of retroactively.
Yes, and here's how, and this is the big thing that I learned, is that City Council, this is why you need to be engaged. They have so many issues, and each one of those 10 issues has so many nuances, right? So just think, one I need to look into, they're redoing the code. And the code is so big that I haven't even been engaged as much as I should.
And what the 2018,
not that one, the city code. Where it's parking standards, setbacks, all this.
Zoning
Where
stuff.
Another architect came up from Denver, and he's like, your parking standard's ridiculous. I can't remember what it is, but I think it's like 2.25. Which is ridiculous. It should be like 1.25 or 1.5, right?
Yeah.
They don't. How does City Council know the ramifications of 2.25 to 1.75? They have no idea, even though it has huge ramifications. So this is where it's so frustrating, is that one of the council members that got it asked, why are you applying this to projects at the end? Why don't you apply it to projects that are starting in the beginning? And then another City Council member said, they've already been notified, so that's why we can apply it to everyone going in. But when they asked the person that did the notifications for the affordable housing, they said at the pre-app meeting. So there's a nuance there that's extremely important.
And that's what we highlighted.
And if you wanted to say anything backwards, like a backwards date, you could say those that were notified at their pre-app meeting. I totally understand that. That makes sense. But there's this disconnect with going backwards and then saying at the final plan review stage. And then there's also this disconnect of people, at the city saying like, yeah, don't worry, once we implement it, it's not like people will be building right away. What? What do you think we're doing? We're getting building permits for fun? And I know, like, the moment we get our approval, ceremonially we'll go put a shovel in the ground. But I suspect that a surveyor will be out there beforehand or immediately doing real stuff. So what I'm saying is that you need to be there to be a resource for them. Because I've seen in city council meetings where they call up a random person from the audience who isn't random, who is actually a professional, and they're like, hey, what's going on here? Because they've established that they know what they're talking about and all that stuff. And some people in the city don't know what they talk about. And then to be more gracious, some people, they just have so many things, there's no way you can know. just like me. My job is architect, all this stuff. I haven't even given all the feedback on the new code just because I got other stuff to do.
Yeah. So what that leads us to is the person that. Oh, go ahead, Al.
Okay. So then can I talk about your email and then where I was so excited, but you were still on the warpath. So
Yes.
I was thinking about
I'm still on the warpath. Yes.
Yep. So I think there's a nuance and there's a fine line, but I like where you're going with it. Meaning, when Lance is like, oh yeah, you're still sending out emails. I'm like, why? One part of me, why not let it die and not let them reopen it?
Like
right?
like Lance, we should just be happy with our victory. We don't need to keep stirring the pot.
Yep. Don't beat a dead horse and don't bring something up again. Because I can't remember, but I swear we talked on this podcast where like, oh, an issue was done and then you brought it back up. It's like pointing something out to a city official. Like, would you ever say like, you get what I'm saying? You might reopen the can of worms.
It's like starting a fight with your wife again. What the hell?
Exactly.
It's dead.
Exactly. But there's a longer term, bigger strategy, which is hey, the developers, the city council, like all that other stuff. So there has to be a fine line, and I think it has to, like, you have to judge that line daily. You have to judge that line every meeting and say, okay, like, do I make my point being okay that this isn't going to reopen the can of worms, and can I do it so that I'm doing my bigger, grander goals? Do you know what I'm saying?
I know. Yeah. So yeah.
And I agree. Once I thought about it, I was like, yes, I agree with what Lance is doing, and I think it's the right thing. But there is that flip side of that line.
And so taking into account how to formulate a good speech, that you almost have to start thinking about, okay, am I going to give them a compliment sandwich? Am I going to go into it and say, hey, I would like to commend you guys on hearing our voices and moving the date for when this ordinance is applied, when it is passed. Yeah. Great job on that. And then maybe the second part is you say, however, and then you lead into, I can, even though my project will now still live on, I cannot in good conscience, blah, 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 have you guys see this still go. I still cannot in good conscience have you guys, like, I still think it is immoral, unethical, all of those things to not have it, to have it potentially applied to projects that are still in the planning and zoning process. I think we're still missing that. And I would encourage you to X, Y, and Z. Thank you for your time. It's got to be something like that.
Well, here's a question for you. So from your email, we've gotten replies back from that guy that I'm talking about that the city talks about. I've had separate emails from developers. Lance, think about this though. So we're already in this central position, right? I honestly think that don't do that unless we get feedback that people are asking for it. You get what I'm saying? Because I agree with you 100%. Because if you open a can of worms and no one else is really asking for it, you're like swinging your sword for someone who's like,
yeah, I agree. And you know what might be the tipping point is that I don't even think I told Alex this, but we have a phone call after work, after hours today with the gal who's you and I both do, and I will be calling you.
What time?
5:15.
Okay.
So on the drive back from the shooting range, we'll be in a conference call.
Okay.
With the lead, one of the other leaders in this group who has been working on and really spearheading it.
You don't have to tell me.
I don't have to tell you, but anyway, so I think that could dictate it, because we should ask in that phone call.
And then if we're talking to any of these other developers, say, what issues are you concerned about? That's where we help them now. Now we flip the script and say, because they might be concerned about other issues. So then that's where we use our coordination and our effort. I'm concerned about this. Okay, we'll help you out on that.
There you go.
Look at that.
That's how you have it. So yeah, so next week, hopefully we'll give you another update there. But all in all, it is good news, and I feel like we did the right thing. It's something I don't think we anticipated, like a challenge we anticipated that we were going to have to go through, trying to do this for the first time. But man, just so many valuable lessons. Like like political posturing, like what you're talking about right now. Like how do you do it? I mean, you gotta. So that's why again, it's so important for you to be engaged even before you're engaged, like let's say you're thinking about doing this, well, maybe you should start trying to routinely watch these meetings and see how other people go about it, who's effective, who's not. Go meet with everybody, meet them, so they know who you are, present a face at the end of the day.
And here's the big lesson is that if you're going to go talk about anything that's really important, try to get a group of people. So there was another issue on the ballot. It was about this big building. It was specific groups of sports group. So guess who showed up? They filled the audience and they talked. And did you see the little girl talk?
It was adorable.
So you probably didn't see. So she read this.
No, I did.
But no, I'm going to tell you what you didn't see. So she read this speech, I don't know, 12 years old, something like that. She, from the back where they're not getting filmed, so we're in the audience, she was on her tippy toes the whole time. So it was like, oh, you can't even see over the thing on your tippy toes.
God, there was one meeting that was hysterical that Alex went to. It was this giant group of like skateboarders and BMXers, and their little makeshift like skate park that they made. And
the city bulldozed.
The city bulldozed. Like literally, the mayor's sons were there speaking out against it
because they helped build it.
They helped build it, and I mean, it was one of the most entertaining things I've ever seen on like a closed circuit TV. Like a local channel and stuff. Yeah. Anyway, there's a point too. There is something to bringing a group of people. It's more than just one. Like when Al went and talked about the open space, it was like that was like a great example of see how only 2 people came and spoke about open space, but like 30 people came, and that wasn't any fault of Al. It was just okay. This is part of the lessons we're learning. Like you got to get a group of people together. Yeah, gotta.
And even if you are one person, let's say that's all you can get. It's not the worst because someone from open space contacted us about we're having a meeting, we're starting a dialogue, all that other stuff. So.
Get out there, have fun doing it too. By the way, I like it. I think it's fun. I mean, it is exhausting, but like, I don't know.
Well,
there's something to all these lessons.
I was okay going to the meeting because I literally opened up my computer and just started working and then listened.
Yeah.
So
bring your iPad.
Lance was texting me, saluting me from his house.
I was. Little baby Kai took a picture. It was great.
Yeah.
All right. I think with that, it's we got time for
best friends.
Little Nicky.
Do you have time for best friend? Because I do.
We have a second best friend too. You know that, right?
I know.
Yeah, he's going to interview us soon.
Awesome. I'm excited. Can we meet at like a convention and they gladiator?
That'd be hilarious. Yeah. Okay.
Hello, best friends. I hope you all had a great week this week. A reading. Why do we shout? I see when we understand something. It's an amazing fact that we've all but forgotten these days. But our brains are hardwired to think in pictures. And when we harness the power of pictures in business, education, and everyday life, we unleash a huge, untapped creative power to innovate, communicate, and problem solve. Visual thinking is the process of organizing and processing information by seeing it, using pictures, cartoons, diagrams, colors, and maps. When information is presented visually, it takes a new life. Stories tell themselves. Connections form. Ideas meet and breed. It's a powerful tool for businesses because visual thinking makes the complex simple, communicating data and big ideas quickly. The Creativity Code by Alexander Gore with coloring by Lance Cayko. Lance, you are going to absolutely love what's coming next. I know you've been waiting for it. For at least 2 weeks. Alexa, play Jump Around. Explicit. Toodles.
Cayko!
Awesome. So that was a snippet of the opening for the book by Oliver. I can't say his last name. Prothio. He's a British guy. So he wrote the intro for the book. And the reason I bring this up is because guess what's coming up? School's coming up.
School's coming up next week.
So this is the optional textbook, not textbook, just book for our school. And the timing worked out. And I thought that was a great intro to the power and skill that everyone, a lot of the architects have, and junior architects, whoever's listening to this, the value of visual thinking and the clarity that you can provide, and that you're offering a service that has value. Of course, pick up the book at every Amazon.com that you can go to.
The Creativity Code by Alex Gore.
Yeah, with
Coloring by Lance Cayko.
Cayko.
Sorry, my bad.
Cayko. So it's funny because students will be reading this, will be talking about this, and then I told Nick I'm running out of things for him to read, so I put him in charge of it.
Wow.
So his first suggestion was 50 Shades of Grey.
Wow.
I said keep it architecture,
of course,
business related.
Yeah.
So we'll see what he comes up with next week.
Yeah.
It's going to be on him now.
However, if we ever do an Inside the Firm after hours,
that's
50
the
Shades.
Majority of it will be reading 50 Shades of Grey.
50 Shades of Grey, absolutely, with commentary. Yeah, makes sense to me. Rock and roll. Yeah, thanks, Nick, as usual. Appreciate you, bestie. Nick, how do you say it? Reynard?
Reynard. Yeah. Of Doug Architecture.
Dig.
Look it up. Okay, let's bring in the guys for A.R.E. Jeopardy. Okay, so the first two questions are check 3 that apply. So what that means is that when I'll say A, B, C, D, E, F, write down little notes for yourself so that you can know what those are, so that you can circle, A, D, and Q, right? Whatever the answer will be. Okay, so question 1. Which of the following types of insurance policies help protect an architecture firm? Check 3 that apply. A, builder's risk insurance. B, commercial general liability insurance. C, health insurance. D, life insurance. E, professional liability insurance. F, workers' compensation insurance. So it's for which of the following types of insurance policies help protect an architecture firm? A, builder's risk. B, commercial general liability. C, health insurance. D, life insurance. E, professional liability insurance. F, workers' comp insurance. So check 3. Check 3, circle 3, write down 3. Make it obvious. No redos. That's it. Whatever answer you get, you get.
This is what? Wow.
Yeah, literally.
How much better are my questions now, gentlemen? My questiony boys.
Yeah. I disagree with these because I think this should be worth 3 points, right, instead of 1 point. But you will get questions like this. Okay. We got B, C, E, B, E, F, B, E, F, B, E, F. So it is commercial general liability, professional liability, and workers' comp, right? So help protect the architecture firm. Health insurance doesn't, life insurance doesn't, and builders risk, that's for builders, not architecture firm, right? Okay.
Nice.
Okay, second question. Same deal. Check 3 that apply. A small architecture firm that specializes in education and recreational facilities is developing a new quality control policy. Which of the following should the policy require to manage the quality of a project documentation? Right? So, new quality control policy, what should we do? A, all construction details come from the firm's library of standards details. B, a project team meeting at the completion of each phase. C, completion of a leads checklist. D, in-house third-party document review. E, completion of a delivery checklist for each phase. F, Use of the design, bid, build, delivery method. Use of the design, bid, build, delivery method. Okay, so your firm specializes in educational and recreational facilities. It's developing a new quality control policy. Which 3 of those would you implement? Okay. Construction details come from the firm's library of standard details. A. That was A. B. Project teams meeting at the completion of each phase. C. Completion of a leads checklist. D. In-house third-party document review. E. Completion of a deliverable checklist for each phase. F. Use of design, bid, build, delivery method.
Wow.
America, welcome to America. Everyone circle the ones that you want. This is kind of a way to do a tiebreaker if you don't get it, if you get the most right. 3, only 3, not 4, not 5. Maybe cross out ones that suck. There's one that has nothing to do with project quality control. Probably.
You're getting tricky, Al. You're getting.
I'm telling you, I'm trying to help them.
Wow.
These are real sample questions.
Sample.
All right, we got 1 done. We got 2 done. We're waiting on 3 done. Okay, so we have A, D, E, A, D, E, A, D, E. You are all wrong, only on 1 point. A is wrong. All construction details come from the firm's library of standard details. What if you don't have one? So what instead of A, B. B. Project team meeting at the completion of each phase. So
wow, this did require notes. Holy cow.
Think about 3 of you are doing big projects. So right, we're gonna have project meeting. We have them every other week, right? In-house third-party document review for our big project. That's gonna be me, right? Because I'm gonna be the guy that would have done that before, right? And then completion of a deliverable checklist for each phase. We've kind of talked about doing that. We haven't done it. It's probably a great thing to do. You know, we're behind the 8 ball. Lance, Cayko.
Lance Cayko, number 3. So what do we got? What's the tally so far? Just 1?
Oh, yeah. Just one.
Just 1. All right, number 3.
No, he has 1?
1-1? 1-1. All right, 1-1-0. Sorry. All you terrestrial listeners, there are no visual listeners. That would have been hilarious if there was a visual one. Okay, number 3. The owner of a 3-story townhome that you designed is complaining to the developer that their heating system is inadequately designed because there isn't any heat getting to the 3rd floor and threatening litigation against the developer. The developer calls you and the mechanical engineer and demands a solution. What is the best recommendation you can give? A. Recommend that the MEP redesign the entire system and that the developer pay for the modification costs. B. Ignore the problem and hope it goes away.
Yes.
C.
Sorry, did I give that away?
Recommend that the developer have the owner adjust each supply register such that the 1st floor registers are open 25% only, the 2nd floor to 50%, and the 3rd 100%. D. Recommend that the developer ignore the owner. Do you need any of those repeated? Okay. Maybe the whole thing? Okay, the whole thing. Okay. Number 3. The owner of a 3-story townhome that you designed is complaining to the developer that their heating system is inadequately designed because there isn't any heat getting to the 3rd floor and threatening litigation against the developer. The developer calls you and the mechanical engineer demands a solution. What is the best recommendation you can give? A. Recommend that the MEP, mechanical engineer, redesign the entire system and that the developer pay the modification costs. B. Ignore the problem and hope it goes away. C. Recommend that the developer have the owner adjust each supply register such that the 1st floor registers are open 25%, the 2nd 50%, and the 3rd 100%. D. Recommend that the developer ignore the owner. What is the answer, gentlemen? We are lengthy today, aren't we?
Yeah, we are.
All right, what do we got? C. B. The answer is C. This actually happened to us. And that solved the problem.
Why are architects recommending that? Why is that coming from us, not the mechanical?
So that's a good question.
Well, I'll tell you why. Because we were doing a similar project, and that solution was told to us. So then we just repeated it, and it worked out because people don't think about that. Isn't that what happened?
That is literally what happened. And who told it to us was the MEP. Is they said, you guys should, they go, we've had this happen before in other townhomes. Here's what you do. And then it solved the problem. Like, believe it or not, it solved the problem. So then when I built my house, same shit. Same stuff. Like, I had to, my wife, there's this whole shakeout period of like, is the system really working the way you wanted it to? We even had to move a thermostat. That's another thing. That's another solution I would add on top of that is you could suggest, have you guys considered moving the thermostat to, let's say, the
problem area.
The problem area, right? And that was our issue at our house was it was too cold in our room, and it was too hot out in the hallway. So we moved the thermostat in our room, and then that kind of, dictated how everything else worked in the zones. Yeah. So easy solutions, never, redesign everything and do it. That's just crazy, out of control. And at the end of the day, it would fall on the MEP anyway. It's their stamp.
And let's say, so it was a small problem. If it was so huge that like there wasn't a duct going to that level, and then you could see redesigning it and all that. But okay, 4.
Number 4. What do we got?
We got one person up.
One person up. Okay. Number 4. This could be it. What is a hollow rod with a perforated intake, which is driven into the ground and connected to a header from which water is pumped out of an excavation known as A, water rod, B, roddy boy, C, well point, D, water head rod. One more time.
Again, answers.
Let me do the question. Because the question is tricky too. What is a hollow rod with a perforated intake, which is driven into the ground and connected to a header from which water is pumped out of an excavation known as A, water rod, B, roddy boy, C, well point, D, water head rod? I bet nobody's going to guess.
I'm going to guess on it because I don't know.
Okay.
What do we got?
D, C.
I say A.
The correct answer is C.
Oh, look at that. I don't get any points. I wasn't watching who. You? All right. We have a winner.
We have a winner. No tiebreaker necessary.
All right. Know what, guys?
Nobody gets to pick because we're just...
that's it. We're going to get
However,
ready to...
I would say this. The winner, there's 2 kinds of brats that we got today. One is cheddar brats. No, just regular brats.
You get to dictate what everyone else eats.
And the other... So there's 5 of each, right? The other one is cheesy bacon, jalapeno. Ridiculous. Yeah. So there you go. Pick your brat.
Okay. So we'll probably be leaving after this soon after. So guys, I don't know. Wrap up what you're doing.
Wrap it up.
All right. So. Okay, that's it. Thanks, everyone, for listening. Again, check out our other friends on the podcast, which is Entree Architect Podcast and A.R.E Speak. Check out Eric Reinhold's 30x40 Design Workshop on YouTube. Am I missing anybody's out? Check us out.
A.R.E Speak?
I said A.R.E Speak.
You got to speak. I'm not even paying attention. Look at me.
Okay.
What a terrible business partner. The only thing I'd have to say is check out Al Gore with his speech to City Council, which will be in the show notes on InsideTheFirmPodcast.com, correct?
That's it.
Alrighty. See you next week.